Hello everybody once again, this is AikawaKazu. Welcome to Knowing Your Saviors for Chaplain. I know, right, KYS? So, first and foremost, do you like to see multiple lines of damage numbers appearing on your screen? Do you want to put smiles on your friends' faces so they can feel the way you do? Do you love the idea of being able to heal, support while providing some DPS? And last but not the least, do you love ramens and the idea of sucking? And if you do, guess what? Here is the perfect class for you, the Chaplain class. Alright, so here in this KYS, we'll be covering four main things. We'll be covering the Chaplain job advancement quests and prerequisites. We'll be talking about some of the frequently asked questions regarding the skill build and skills of the Chaplain class. We'll also be talking about equipment and some of the highlights regarding the equipments that you want to get. And last but not the least, I'll be sharing with you the general thoughts about the class in a overall wrapping up manner. Alright, so we'll talk about the class in general at the end, my thoughts about the class. Alright, so in each of the above mentioned sections, I'll also try and address any FAQs that comes to my mind as I talk about them. But let's move on to our first part here, which is the Chaplain job advancement quest and prerequisites. So to actually become a chaplain right now, you should know that you need to be at least Priest 3. That is the first prerequisite. The second prerequisite, once you have reached Priest 3 and class rank 15, and you want to, class level 15, and you want to job change into the Chaplain class, when you click on job advancement, you will not see the Chaplain choice available for you. You need to do something to unlock that. So what you need to do is to actually complete the prerequisite dialogues. Alright, the prerequisite dialogues. So the first thing you need to do is to head to Orsha and speak to the Lord's Guard on the right of Inissa Harmondale. He will tell you about a Chaplain Master visiting the East Salii Woods, which is basically a hint for your next location. Next, you'll speak to an Eastern Woods Sentinel on the left, and he will tell you that the Chaplain Master has some business with Cleric Masters in Kaipita. You then head to Kaipita to talk to the Priest Master, and he will have a new dialogue option for you regarding the Chaplain Master. He will then indicate to you to meet someone called Commander Julian, who is actually an NPC at Divasia Peak, and that's where the Chaplain Master will be, on the right of the goddess statue. After which, you should be able to see the Chaplain job advancement option appear on your job advancement options once you speak to him. And of course, once you have confirmed your choice to become a Chaplain, you'll then you'll be directed to the Chaplain Master for your quest, where you need to simply kill 50 monsters in the Divasia Peak to collect 50 lost materials. And after you've completed the quest, boom! You are now finally a Chaplain and have obtained one of the best looking class costumes in Tree of Savior. It looks good. Alright, it looks good, guys. It looks good. So with that, we now move on to talk about the skill build up to Chaplain, which is your Cleric 1, Priest 3, and Chaplain. So for Chaplain, it's actually very standard because of how good or how not good some of the new Chaplain skills are. We'll come to that later. But now that we have come to skill builds, we'll talk about 3 frequently asked questions for building up to the Chaplain class. First question, do I need to max blessings? Alright, second question, do I need to max expersion? And last but not the least, do I need to add a point to monstrance? Alright, so let's start with the first and most debated concern, which is blessings. Okay, so the first thing you know about blessing is that you need to at least have level 3, because at level 3 you unlock the attribute where you can add 2 blessing damage per level, and you can add up to 100 damage, which is level 50. So in other words, at level 3 you can actually have plus 123 damage for blessings. So the question is level 3 blessings enough? Because level 3 blessings only has a hit count of 60, and Chaplain, you know, having Last Rite, Sacrament, and Espelgilium, that means at least 4 additional or 4 auto attack hits. I say, 4 damage numbers coming out. Will it be enough with 60 hit counts? Will the additional damage from Sacrament, Last Rites, and Espelgilium take up the hit counts for blessings? So I did extensive testing and found out that the additional damage do not take up the hit count of blessings, even though all of those additional damage has the blessing damage included. So even if I auto attack as fast as I can only auto attack about 60 times before the blessings duration ran out. And 60 hit count is exactly the hit count for level 3 blessings if you max the hit count attribute. So does that mean that I do not need to get anything higher than level 3 blessings, because getting level 15 up from 3 only gives me an increase in damage of 47, which is, if you think about it, 2 damage per skill point, right? Or 3, around there. Alright. So the answer to this question is that there is no real right or wrong question. But what you need to know is that if you have max level blessings on a chaplain, okay, you will actually do additional 11,280 damage more than level 3 blessings in 60 auto attacks, assuming you have at least 4 damage numbers. If you have 5 with the Catherine set, it will actually be a difference of 14,100 damage in 60 auto attacks. So what does this mean? This means that when it comes to bosses with millions of HP, you know, which will take around 4 to 5 blessing buffs or more before you actually kill them, the damage difference is only gonna go up the longer a fight is. So, depending on that, you're now in a bewilderment on whether you should get level 15 blessings or level 3. So what is going to help you decide on that is it's all on your rank 6 and 7 class choices. Personally, I will still recommend at least level 10 blessings, which give you that sweet spot of plus 150 damage, while still freeing up 5 more skill points for more flexibility in your build. Obviously, if you're going Partner 2 for your rank 6 and 7, then yeah, max your blessings since you want to sell buffs that are the best out there. Alright, but if you're not, then you can consider getting level 3, alright, and up to recommended of level 10. So right now I have level 15 blessings on my Chaplain. I can tell you personally that I will actually bring it down to level 10, because that will mean there are more skill points to add to stuff like Mass Heal, Revive, and the next skill that we're going to talk about here, which is whether should I max Aspersion. So you know, the points that you free up from blessings can be added to Aspersion. And why is Aspersion important? Because Chaplain has a skill called Aspergillum or Aspergillum, and that skill gives you additional damage based on the damage of Aspersion, which is why we have this question in the first place. So the first thing we look at is the damage difference, or the attribute damage difference between level 15 Aspersion and level 5 Aspersion, which is 210. So this literally means 210 intelligence, you know, since 1 intelligence equals 1 magic attack. So 210 intelligence seems substantial, right? But you need to know again what is the payoff, which depends on your rank 6 and 7 choices again. If you are leaning towards a support side Chaplain, then you know, skills like Revive at level 10 gives you 50% HP recovery and 10 seconds of invisibility, which is actually a lot if you think about it. It literally means that you can, you know, YOLO and get hit by like a mission Golem Storm, bring yourself down to like you almost die and you go back at 50% HP, and that is actually the sweet spot for the Chaplain's additional damage from, I believe, last rites to kick in from your Sacrament or something. I can't remember offhand, then you go look at the skill description, but basically there's actually a HP limit for last rites, if I recall correctly, that gives you additional damage when you're at the HP or below, and the HP limit is 50% HP. So with that in mind, you might want to think about adding max level Revive, you know, or maybe level 8 or 9 to bring you to that sweet spot of 40% HP, you know, straight away, so that you can actually do additional damage as a Chaplain. So that's one thing to consider. And 210 damage is actually is significant, but not that much, because they can be replaced with, like, you know, better weapons that gives you magic attack, like, you know, Catacombs Club give you 300 plus additional magic attack, which can replace that 210 in that frees up points for more utility, Revive, Mass Heal, that kind of stuff. So whether you want to max Aspersion again depends on what type of Chaplain you're building ultimately. And very similar to blessings, this will determine, I mean, what will help you determine this is your rank 6 and 7 class choices. For example, if you're going into Cleric 2 into Plague Doctor as a rank 6 and 7 class choice, then you wouldn't need the spare points into Mass Heal or Revive, since you have stuff like Healing Tiles from Heal, you have your Safety Zone, additional hit counts, you know, you have your Plague Doctor, Healing Factor and stuff. You have more support from there. So you don't need to add more stuff in the support, and you can just YOLO and put all into Aspersion, so you have more damage from your Aspersion. Because you will not actually get much damage utility skills from the other rank 6 and 7 class choices. So you want additional damage from Aspersion, so you maxed it. So you get what I mean here? And fortunately, alright, while Aspersion, okay, increases damage based on your SPR. It is also a magic attack based skill, which means if you actually go for a heavy int build like me, which is 3 ints 1 SPR ratio, your explosion damage will also increase as your intelligence increase. So there are actually full SPR builds in KTOS for Chaplains or Priest tree out there, which is mainly for Stone Skin, because your block count increases 4 times of your SPR plus 400 at level 5 for Stone Skin for the Priest class. So you can get super high block counts, but I wouldn't recommend full SPR builds for Chaplain, because honestly I do not know at this point. I have not tried it. So if you have tried a full SPR Chaplain, or you have seen videos of how it functions in the late game or end game, feel free to share in the comments below. But for now, I wouldn't recommend full SPR build for Chaplain, since you will get more flexibility if you go heavy in build. Because let's say if you go to Druid, or if you go to any other cleric classes skills choices that has magic attack based damage, then you know you're very versatile, because you went 3 intelligence. You still have decent base intelligence, which is decent base magic attack to still work out your rank 6 and 7 class. So 3-1 my build. Alright. And last but not least, we have Monstrance. Okay, this one for me is more of an annoyance, and the answer is very simple. If you're at least going for Curvis 1, then go for it, since you have Dino. Alright, Dino increases your maximum buff count that you can have on your character. Alright, because with Last Rite, Sacrament, Blessings, Stone Skin, Aspergillum, Revive, or Aspergillum, Revive, and the possibility of other buffs from other classes, the chances of over buffing is very high. Okay, Swordsmen and Clerics have a base buff limit of 7, and Wizards and Archers have a base buff limit of 5. You can increase your limit by having a token by 1, and then if you complete a level 130 quest in Kaipida at rank 5, you can increase it by 1 again. So the buff limit is actually 9 for Swordsmen and Clerics and 7 for Wizards and Archers, and that's assuming you have a token and you have reached at least rank 5. Okay, so I've been through many dungeons and missions where overbuffing occurs, and some of my buffs get overwritten. It is especially annoying when Sacrament gets removed, since it has a 1.5 minute cooldown. Okay, so unless you're gonna be with someone that's gonna get Dino, alright, or you're going some build that will require that 20% dex increase of Monstrance, and you want the utility of decreasing the evasion and defense, there's really no need to level up this skill as a Chaplain. Alright, and I'm just gonna put it out right here. Priest tree Monk, Priest tree Chaplain Monk is not gonna work. Okay, it looks good on paper because you have all those additional damage from the auto attacks, but monks right now are heavily based on the double punch, which is a skill that do not proc off Last Rite, Sacrament, or Aspergillum, sorry. So Priest tree Chaplain Monk is not gonna work, so that's why if you go Chaplain, again I'm gonna tell you right now, don't go Monk. Do not go Monk, alright? Sounds good to build a strength, dex based, auto attacking Chaplain, but no. Because you're very limited in terms of your rank 6 and 7 choices, and there isn't any good rank 6 and 7 choices after you become a Chaplain, even if you have gone like the strength dex build. So I'm just gonna put it out there. If someone have tried a strength dex Chaplain build that builds into something else that works, let me know. If not, there's no need to add Monstrance, because what's gonna happen is just gonna overbuff, and you're gonna cancel out your own skills, and you don't want that to happen. Alright? And this brings us to the showcase of the generic build that I talk about right now very quickly. So give me a moment to showcase it right now. Boom. Alright, so Cleric, you want heal level 5, cure level 5, because cure is magic attack based, alright, and it scales based on your ints. Alright, it actually deals a lot of damage, and at level 5 it hits 18 times. I believe it hits like 1.3k on my Chaplain right now, times 18, it's over 15,000 damage. Even though it's a pretty long cooldown, but it's good to place it down along with your exercise. So this is good for your early leveling with heal, you know. Then level 5 safety zone, this one given, alright, don't need to add the protected zone. For Priest, I go for level 5 Aspersion, 5 Blessing, and 1 Resurrection, and I kind of saved my points here. Actually what I did was, I didn't add Aspersion at all, I didn't add Monstrance, I did add Resurrection later on, but I didn't add during my rank 2, I added when I was rank 3. So I just left my Blessings at level 5, and then when I hit rank 3, I could get my Blessings to level 10 straight away for that additional damage. And then I maxed my Sacrament, okay? And I didn't add Mass Heal or Revive, even though they are very good utility. I just added Blessings and Sacrament, and then the rest I didn't touch. So when I actually got the Priest tree, I maxed my Sacrament and I maxed my Blessings. But now we know that we shouldn't max Blessings, for me personally. Okay, so unless you're looking to have a skill reset, of course level 15 Blessing is going to be good for leveling because of the additional damage. That 20 more damage is going to help because you're going to have Sacrament and Caprice Sunset, that kind of stuff. So you have 3 auto attacks and you're looking at 20 times 3, that's 60 damage. So it still affects. If you're not looking to skill reset, leave Blessings at 10. Alright, and you can start adding like 1 point to Exorcise. Stone Skin level 5 is very good because by the time you hit rank 3, I mean rank 4, which is the third job change, you're looking at doing level 50 dungeons already. Yeah. No, that is level 90 dungeons. Here is level 50 dungeons. Sorry, I'm recording this at 5 AM, okay? And then finally, Chaplain. Alright, you have your Aspergillium, level 5. Why you want it to be level 5? Because at level 1, its duration is only 10 seconds and its cooldown is 30 seconds, so you need to get it to at least level 3. But unfortunately, the Chaplain skills are not great for Magnus Exorcismus. Exorcismus is not good. Deploy Kepler or Capella, not good. And Last Rites, you just maxed it because it gives you the maximum duration, around the same duration as your Sacrament, which is 300 seconds, so you just buff both of them. If not, when you start out as a Chaplain, the first skill you want to add is actually Last Rites level 1, and of course, I will say you add Aspergillium first, because it increases your damage output by a lot, since it uses your Aspersion damage. My Aspergillium damage is at 1000 right now, 1000, and against like Devil or Mutant type targets, you're looking at 2000 damage, because of 100% increase in holy damage on them. So I'll add this first, then I'll add Last Rites, and then you can put this too for fun, but I will not ask you to add them anytime soon. You can just add. I actually did 111 at the start, but I regretted. I would have went 1 Last Rites and 1 Aspergillium, and then I'll get Aspergillium to at least 3 first, then maybe get Last Rites up again, but nah. You just get your Aspergillium to level 5, so it lasts for additional 20 seconds before it goes off cooldown, which is good, which means you use lesser holy water over time and you save money on it. And for here, with the additional points that I will be freeing up from Blessings, alright, I'll actually put into level 5 Mass Heal, and I'll actually put level 5 Revive. Or I mean level 6 Mass Heal and level 5 Revive. Level 6 because it's that sweet spot of 20% maximum HP, 2-0 looks nice compared to any other thing. And Revive here, I think if you really don't want one strand, you can take it away and bring it up to level 7. Okay, so let's look at Last Rites. Increase holy property damage in proportion to the caster's Sacrament level, which becomes more powerful when HP is below 40%. Okay, so with the attribute here, you can lower the HP limit of Last Rites by 2% per attribute. So you can bring this, I believe that you can bring this down to 10%, 30%. So you need around, okay, so actually level 6 Revive is enough. Yeah, level 6 Revive is now, you just put one strand, so this will be perfect. You'll get yourself to that sweet spot of about 30% HP. Okay, so you can actually activate your additional damage, okay, from Last Rites. Even though I don't use this because you don't want to be at low HP most of the time. Alright, you don't have low HP most of the time. So this is your generic skill build for Priestry Chaplain that I would recommend. That is that is best for overarching build overall. Alright, that's best for overarching build overall. And with that, we are done with the skill build, so we'll move on to the next part of this guide, or this KYS, which is the equipment. Alright, let me bring us back to here, the game, and we can finally move on from this heart-shaped scene and show you guys what I actually have. So the first thing that you must have as a Chaplain, alright, or as a, okay, I will say Chaplain, as a priest, anyone that's going for a priest, even priest 1, okay, so priest and above up to Chaplain, you must have this thing called the Capricen armor set. Why? Because at the 4 set effect, you're actually given this thing called the Earth Property Additional Damage plus 12. Okay. But Kazu, what is Earth property additional damage plus 12? It's 12! 12 is not a lot. But the keyword here is this keyword called additional damage. Okay, you need to know the difference between additional damage and elemental property attack increase. In this case, in this example, Ade Dagger 153 fire property attack increase. So there's a difference between elemental additional damage and elemental property attack increase. To put it simply to you, additional damage in Tree of Savior basically means one more damage number that will appear. In other words, Catherine set will give you this plus 12 damage. Alright, let me demonstrate to you guys real quick. Well, still continue to talk to you guys. So why is this very good? Because the additional Earth property damage that you see can be affected by blessings, can be affected by the plus 40 holy property damage from your sacrament, and it is also affected by your elemental property attack increase, in this case Ade Dagger. So to demonstrate to you guys what I mean, I need to find a monster very quickly right now. It's gonna be a Cockrat or Caucasus. Okay, look at it. I'm gonna poke him. Wait, without my Ade Dagger first. Which is like this. Look at that. 131 plus 12. Again, 138 plus 12. So you can see exactly 12 Earth property damage, but additional damage. That's why you see another damage number. And this can be affected by Ade Dagger. And you can see now it's 88. It's 88 now. 12 plus supposed to be 157, but for some reason it is only plus how many? My math. Yep, my math has failed. But you can see that the damage has affected the Catherine set Earth property damage. I think because Fire and Earth don't go together or something, and it actually halves the. Yeah, if you look at it, it's actually 76 damage, which is, yeah, it's about half of what it gives you. If you take 76 times 2, you get 153. There we go. So Ade Dagger not so good with Catherine set, but it still gives you the additional 76 damage on your Catherine set. And then you have your Sacrament, which gives you, again, if you moused over the skill here, additional damage. Wow, additional damage. See, the keyword here is additional damage. That means we have another damage number, and this Sacrament damage is affected by Ade Dagger as well. Okay, so we come to this Caucasus again, and you can see now I have 3 damage numbers, and you can see the 128 is the Earth property damage, and the 157 is the one that is buffed by both, alright, the Ade Dagger as well as the Sacrament damage buff. Alright, and then we have Last Rites, which gives us our 4th damage number for our Chaplain. Okay, and now we go to this guy, or these 2 guys, and you can see 4 damage numbers appearing. You saw the explosion, that was the toy hammer, but I'll talk about that later on. So now, with this, you add on blessings. Come on, game. Alright, there we go. And we have Aspergillium, and this guy is gonna melt. Dies in 2 hits. You can see how strong it is. Yep. Very, very strong. It doesn't even survive beyond like 7 auto attacks. It dies on the second phase, second auto attack. So this is why Chaplain is very strong right now. So you must make sure that you get the Catherine set. Alright, and the Catherine set will actually last all the way until you actually I would say get the Roxona armor set. And the reason why that will be better because Roxana Armor set has a bunch of good bonuses like stamina increase, stat increment, you know. And look at this, if I'm fighting a holy guy, holy damage plus 100%. And this is why the Catherine set is very good on the Chaplain along with all the buffs that you have. And make sure you actually refine your Catherine armors, alright, to at least above +3, especially for your glove, because once you get to the later stages, the accuracy, you might see that you start missing some of the flying monsters. Alright. So the next equipment that I want to highlight is the Toy Hammer. Alright, the Toy Hammer drops from Archon, alright, from the Royal Mausoleum, not Workers Launch, alright, it drops from the Royal Mausoleum storage, which is like the basement tree, from the Archon boss, the Archon boss cube, alright, the Archon boss cube. I'm trying to find a tanky target here, which is the purple cockroaches. But why is the Toy Hammer so good for the Chaplain class? Because if you look at the Toy Hammer description here, it seems weak, but it causes an explosion on the user's 10th attack. Which means on your... So the question that you're actually going to ask is, are the additional damage numbers that pops up for the Chaplain class going to count as an attack? The answer, fortunately, is yes. Alright, so to demonstrate this to you guys, okay, in other words, okay, since we have 5 additional damage, okay, you are looking at 2 auto attacks to proc off 1 explosion. Alright, this guy won't survive the 2 auto attacks, which means this weapon is very, very strong because you can use it at level 75, and its explosion damage is also further buffed by blessings and your Arde dagger. I'm still trying to find a purple cockroaches because that's the only guy that's higher HP crew here. Wait, did I see it? Okay, no. So Toy Hammer is definitely one weapon that you want to consider to have because it's really very good. But the next question you're gonna ask Kazu is this. Alright, it's this. Let me just show you guys. You guys saw the explosion, right? I think I killed it too fast. I'm doing about 1400 explosion damage, alright, without all the buffs. And now I'm gonna talk to you guys about the question that you asked me. Is the Toy Hammer better than Valia? Is the Toy Hammer better than the Catacombs Club? The answer is no. Alright, the answer is no. And I think that's a pretty good no to have, because if a level 170 equipment or 120 equipment is better than a Toy Hammer, then you know it's not very good for those equipment, right? Like, they need to be revamped, even though Catacombs Club is kind of OP, but alright, so let's look at this guy. Look at that, the explosion damage happened in 2 auto attacks. You saw that, right? So Toy Hammer is insanely good for Chaplain because in 2 auto attacks with the Kefferson set, you proc off 1.4k damage. 1.4k damage, man, oh my god. Okay, so why is the Toy Hammer not so good compared to Valia or the Catacombs Club? The first thing you need to know is that the explosion damage is based off your physical attack. Unfortunately, it's 4 times your physical attack. I was actually shocked at first because I thought that the explosion damage was based off magic attack. So I was wrong because I passed my Toy Hammer to my Hoplite and I tested. My Hoplite with 400 physical attack actually did 1.8k. It's like 450, 425 physical attack. I did 1.8k, actually 1790 explosion damage. Okay, but my 300 damage Chaplain. Alright, let's take away all our buffs here, just to show you guys. Okay, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can see 1.4k, exactly 1.4k. Thank you, exactly 1.4k on the Hello Venter. So it's 4 times your physical attack for the Toy Hammer, which means that your Toy Hammer damage will actually no longer scale when you level up and you add intelligence to your Chaplain, which is a damn shame if you think about it. If it actually scales with magic attack, it is actually insane amounts of damage, because you get 1.4k damage that scales with 2 auto attacks from your Chaplain essentially, because you have 5 hits. Okay, so in any case, Toy Hammer is still very, very good. But to give you the math, alright, my game just froze here, but to give you the math, okay, I actually did the math between Toy Hammer and Catacombs Club, okay. So if you look at the base damage of the Catacombs Club, you have an average base damage of 228.5. Alright, let me bring up my calculations just to show you guys. Well, not my calculation, just the window of the item description. Okay, so you have Catacombs Club, alright, about an average base damage of 228.5. Toy Hammer, 93.5. Alright, so the difference in the base damage is actually 135, which is gonna matter for your base damage attack, correct? And the Catacombs Club gives you 303 magic attack increase, which is going to affect your aspersion damage. As I mentioned, aspersion is actually magic attack based. So the total damage difference is 303 plus 135, which is going to be 438. In 2 auto attacks, the damage difference is 876. But hey, isn't 876 lesser than 1400? Yes, that is true. But unfortunately, you need to take into account the 303 magic attack increase for other skills such as Exercise, Cure, which are the current 2 main skills that we use on bosses. And Cure has 18 hits, and Exercise lasts for 10 seconds. So level 5 Cure and level 1 Exercise is going to do exactly 9999 more damage with the Catacombs Club. Alright, I did the math. And assuming you can do 2 auto attacks per second, that means 5 Toy Hammer procs. Toy Hammer will only do 700 damage in that time. And if you include a difference of 438 auto attack difference with Catacombs Club, and that you can actually do 20 auto attacks in 10 seconds, that will be 8760 damage. So the point is, in all these numbers, alright, all these numbers, okay, and all this gibberish, okay, is you actually want to get both. Why? Because the numbers are assuming that you actually have Cure and your Exercise up all the time, which is not the case. So what you need to do is you change to your Valia or your Catacombs Club, depending on which you're trying to get or which one you have first. Valia is level 120 before you can use it, and it drops on the 115 dungeon, and Catacombs Club is from the level 200 dungeon. So you have both the Toy Hammer and you have the Catacombs Club. When you have your skills cooldown up, your skills cooldown, when your skills are no longer on cooldown, equip the swap to the Catacombs Club, cast your skills, and then swap back to your Toy Hammer to do auto attack, and you will have the best efficiency as a Chaplain. Alright? Because when your skills are on cooldown, you don't do those additional damage that I mentioned. Alright? So again, Catacombs Club or Valia, when you use skills, swap to Toy Hammer, and auto attack with your Toy Hammer. And so that is the equipment that I want to tell you guys about. So Toy Hammer again can be dropped from the boss cube from the Archon at the Royal Mausoleum storage, which is like the basement tree of the Royal Mausoleum Workers Launch. Alright. And most importantly, Toy Hammer is level 75. So like Arty Dagger, you can use it very early. And yeah. So if you're planning to buy one, I would say buy the Toy Hammer, skip the Valia, and then save up to buy a Catacombs Club or try to hunt the Catacombs Club yourself, because you can see my Toy Hammer has carried me to whatever 156, and I don't see myself needing to change to another weapon until I reach level 170 for the Catacombs Club. But you can only get Catacombs Club recipe from level 200 dungeon, so you can use up to level 200. Alright, so for bracelets, even though I do not have it yet because I'm not level 170, you can go for 2 wizard bracelets, which you can actually reach. I mean, you can actually farm them from the Springlight Woods, which I actually found for my friends, Cupid and Aces. I give away 2, by the way. For them, just want to show you guys the item so you know what I'm talking about. I was trying to up-tap. Alright, Wizard Bracelet, look at that, magic attack plus 32 and 80 SP. And then you can upgrade this thing, this beautiful thing, to the Archmage Bangle. Alright, Archmage Bangle that gives you 40 magic attack and 29 magic M. Magic M basically increases the max and min of your M attack, or the max and min of the skill that you use that is based off of M attack, something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong. Alright, and this thing drops from the Salust Convent, which is a level 240 mission that will be unlocked when you hit 240. So it's still very long, but you can go for that. This is just for, you know, for things ahead. And I think that's it for equipment. Yep, I think that's it for equipment. And finally, we wrap up with my general thoughts about the Chaplain class. Alright, my general thoughts about the Chaplain class. Okay, the first thing you need to know is that I don't recommend anyone to go for the Chaplain class as their first character. Alright. The second thing, as I mentioned earlier on, do not build a monk around Priest Tree Chaplain, because again, double punch doesn't proc Sacrament of Last Rites. Okay. And why do you not go for Chaplain as a first character? Because a Chaplain, or your leveling as a Priest Tree to Chaplain, will be so much more enjoyable and easier. So much more enjoyable, AikawaKazu. So much easier and so much more efficient if you possess an Arty Dagger beforehand. You know, you can get your Catherine set, and you can get all of those traded to you via your Team storage. And you know, you'll be able to hunt stuff like Toy Hammer before that, so they don't need to spend any money to buy it, that kind of stuff. And overall, right, Chaplain is more, you know, can be summarized as an offensive support sub DPS class, depending on your rank 6 and 7 class choices. My point here is, alright, if you're looking to build a pure 100% full support cleric type class, Chaplain is not the class you want to go for. Like, just skip the Chaplain. Why? Because the offensive support tech for Chaplain comes from Sacrament, even though Sacrament is a priest skill, and then it comes from Last Rites, because both of them are great buffs for classes that are, you know, based off auto attacks. You know, like cross shooters, they benefit a hell lot from Chaplains. Alright? And this is especially so because most of these guys that, you know, go for auto attack based classes, they will have their own RD dagger, they have their own Karacha dagger, they will have their Venom, their mana, so, you know, on their own end boost the damage of these additional buffs that gives them further additional numbers, damage numbers, you know. But what this means that classes that cannot trigger a mix of Last Rites and Sacrament actually do not synergize very well with Chaplain. This is what I'm referring to is skill spamming based classes like Fletchers, like most wizard classes. They do not synergize very well with Chaplains. You know, while blessings still work for all types of attacks and skills, it is not needed to become a Chaplain. You do not need to become a Chaplain to be able to buff people with blessings. So essentially, the Chaplain only provides Last Rites as a buff for parties, while having Aspergillium to boost your damage enough to be sub DPS class. And to talk about that, I haven't talked about the deploy Capella, right? So let me just show you here. You take like what, 3 seconds to set this up, and you get all your buffs here, alright, from the priest class, Stone Skin, Sacrament, Blessings, Monstrance, and Aspersion. Alright, and now I'm gonna test it. You realize that I actually do not have Monstrance, and I actually had 19 decks, so I tested this right now. So you do not actually need Monstrance to, I think there's actually a bug, they didn't fix it, because it's supposed to be based off your caster's level of Monstrance. But I don't know. Okay, and if I run out and I re-enter, it actually doesn't, it buffs me again. So this is one very cool thing about this thing. So what is this good for? I would say this is good for, you know, G versus G, when, you know, it takes time for you to actually do this, and you know your friends are fighting people, like you just respawn, you just put it there, and people can just come in and refresh. So this is pretty cool, right? If you think about it. This is pretty cool. And you can actually extend the duration by leveling up further to a maximum, I believe, 35 seconds at level 5. Let me just double check one more time. Yep, level 5 is 35 seconds for the buffs. That means the buffs actually last for 35 seconds. So it's actually very good for support. Maybe you can drop one Last Rites and get level 5, deploy a Capella instead, which is pretty good if you think about it. So, and one more thing that people talk about is how, you know, it gives your Stone Skin like full up time, that kind of thing. So this is one thing that you can use. But one thing you need to know is that, okay, for example, right, if I have my blessings up already and I drop this down, it actually overrides the duration. Yep. In other words, if your Sacrament is at 6 minutes and you cast this, it's gone. And you need to do the refresh, you know? You need to do the refresh if you want to rebuff yourself again. Alright. So the rebuffing part is awesome, and it's good for 35 seconds. And that little, this thing actually lasts for a minute. It doesn't increase with level, by the way. It always lasts for a minute. So there's one thing to take note of. Alright. So deploy Capella is not that good. To be honest, it's not really that needed if you're buffing people beforehand, but I would say it has some utility in G versus G. Alright, and now Magnus Exorcismus, whatever. Alright, so you need to cast this thing, and you need to cast this thing. And look, unfortunately, this guy stepped into my exercise, and it's gone. I can't cast it anymore. They need to have something that allows you to toggle so that your exercise do not trigger. Alright, just like how your healing tiles do not trigger. They need to make it something that toggles so that you can always cast your Magnus Exorcismus. Got it right this time. Unfortunately, there's no such attribute or toggle. So you have the case where there's an entire AoE of monsters where you want to AoE down with your Magnus, but unfortunately you cannot cast in the midst of them. You have to cast like somewhere away from them and then activate it with your H. I'm gonna wait another 20 seconds to show you guys, and then lure those monsters, which we do not have a luring skill by the way, to those things, and then they only take damage if they are within the beam of light. So I'm hoping, unless, like, you know, if you know a skill from Paladin tree called Barrier where it increases in size after you cast it, like a real barrier, unless the Magnus Exorcismus AoE actually increases per level, like the size will actually increase per level, it is actually not good. I cannot see the point of it. Like, I would rather max my Exorcise than max my Magnus. Let's put it that way. So just to show you guys how it looks like. Okay, and let's say punch this guy. And look, I've already wasted how many seconds? This thing lasts for 11 seconds. I bring him here, and he's dead. And yeah, this thing lasts for 11 seconds. For Exercise, when the guy steps into the Exercise, it lasts for 10 seconds. Infuriating, alright? That's why I didn't talk about that skill at all, because it's not good skills. Alright, so don't make a Chaplain for Magnus. Alright, it's not worth it. So that's one thing you need to take note. Alright, but as I mentioned about just now, essentially Chaplain is just there for last rites, at least for PvE. For PvP, maybe deploy Capella, it's pretty good. But for PvE, they are looking at last rites. But last rite is pretty good because it actually converts or grants holy property attacks to your entire party. So when it comes to killing monsters that are devil type or mutant type, essentially like level 130 dungeon there's plenty, level 145 dungeon there's plenty, level 175 dungeon there's plenty, and all the other dungeons, 190 dungeons there's plenty, 200 dungeons there's plenty. So last rite is really good to give your friends the 100% holy damage increase. Alright, so that's really very good, and it's also very good for you as a DPS to do huge amounts of damage to anything that is 100% damage increase from holy damage. Alright. So ultimately, whether your Chaplain is going to be good is really going to be heavily determined by your rank 6 and 7 class choice, which I've been talking about for a long time, didn't I? Why? Because I have not decided myself what is my rank 6 and 7 class choice. Right now I'm looking to go for Druid 2 to further increase my offensive skills via Carnivory, alright, while providing some decent damage mitigation and prevention support via your Severe Trough that gives 10 seconds of invisibility for your party, alright. And it's actually really open-ended. You know, you can also go Partner 2 to sell a boss. Like, you know, I enjoy my time as a Chaplain. Right now I'm just gonna make my Chaplain a money-making character, and you can go Partner 2. But as rank 7, man, like there's a lot of other builds you can go for so that you will not actually end as Partner 2. Like, you can get Partner 2 at rank 6. Now you're gonna go Partner 2 at rank 7. Is it worth it? You know? And I do not actually know if you can sell Chaplain buffs. But if you want, you can actually get that Partner 2. I think you can sell last rites. Maybe you can. No, you cannot, because it's actually based off your sacrament, so I don't think you can. So you can still sell the standard priest tree buffs if you want to, you know, if you're done with a Chaplain. You can also go Cleric 2 into Plague Doctor. That's a safer route because it gives you Divine Might, it gives you higher hit counts for Safety Zone and more healing tiles, while giving you that status ailment prevention as a Plague Doctor, and you know. But unfortunately, you will not have many status ailments to incinerate, making it not an ideal Plague Doctor build. You know, even going Paladin 1 into Plague Doctor can work because if you stack Restoration and Healing Factor, it's pretty cool. So all in all, I believe that your rank 6 and 7 class choice will hopefully be influenced by the people you play with, because, you know, if you go into stuff like Oracle actually increases your team's stamina, and that means that if someone is a monk and he plays with you, he will love to have an Oracle in his party. Alright, so I believe by now when you hit level 150 plus, your newfound friends and party members will definitely help you in deciding your class choices. And I think that's it about my sharing for Chaplain. As usual, if you have any further questions, feel free to share with me in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, stomp the like button, and if you really want to support the Knowing Your Saviors series, as well as to support and help me out, check out my stream, my Twitch stream, links in the description below. Follow the channel and subscribe if you want to show some love. And as always, my name has been AikawaKazu. Thanks for watching once again. The next Knowing Your Saviors will be on my rank 7 Ranger 2, Wugushi 2, Falconer, Cannoneer. And until then, God bless, and I'll see you guys and girls in the next video. Goodbye.